Yo, yo, yo. Got working audio. Let's take a look here. Make sure everything is in the right spot. How's everybody doing? It's Thursday, so of course we are ripping lower. Just ripping. Ripping. Which, hey, that's what the technicals expected. Hey, Karen, thank you. Let me just sort this out. If you want me to take a look at anything, let me know. A few of you already have. Seb is here. Gosp is here. Yes, I will be at the the INJ Summit. They asked me to come and join a panel there. Let's get this working. Ba-boom. So again, if we separate between holders and non-holders, holders, there's really nothing for them to do. If you're actively trading this, I think there's a little bit more for you to do in the near term, and I think most people at this point have already done so. I don't think it's super late to do anything just yet, but it's clearly, we're clearly not bullish at all-time highs here. This isn't bullish continuation. That's not what this looks like, in case it wasn't clear. I wanted to talk about gold first, actually, because what's funny is if you look at gold actually looks really good. Like, it looks like an inverted head and shoulders at the top, and if BTC looked like this at the top, it would be much easier to be bullish, I think. Like, is it a perfect inverted head and shoulders? No. Was it more bearish previously? Did it kind of look like a diamond or something? It did, but it fought that off. And what did it do? It made a higher high here on the shoulder. And here we are. Cloud still says this is okay. I don't love it personally, but if gold can hold these levels and break out, short term that's bearish for BTC. It never moves with BTC and gold never move together. So to see gold just hanging out up here makes sense to me if BTC is bearish. Great. And if this breaks out, again, that's bullish for BTC. Now that's what you'd expect because global liquidity keeps making new highs. Everybody's printing money. Everybody's bringing rates down. The big, beautiful bill is adding a bunch of debt to the ecosystem. The dollar's going down. All this stuff is mid to long term extremely bullish for BTC. This is what you want to see. It's just, what do you want to do today? It doesn't look good today. It doesn't look good today. You could say, well, this is, the liquidity pocket. Okay, fine. It would make sense to me. Let BTC break down, let gold break up, and let's see what happens here. This is BTC on the pitchfork. Interestingly, it hit the pitchfork maximum that you'd think you'd pull back. Previously, it hadn't done that. So it's doing that now. It's doing that now. And of course, alts are just a disaster, right? Alts are a disaster. This is the AI cloud. Sorry, I was trying to think about how to talk about this. 15, 37, 40, 18. Caught the breakout. We're at the key June. It's not screaming bearish, but again, this looks like a head and shoulders all day to me. This looks the opposite of gold, which is an inverted head and shoulders. It looks like the opposite of IWM, which is a textbook inverted head and shoulders. It looks the opposite of PayPal, inverted head and shoulders. AMD, inverted head and shoulders. What else? There's like Marvell, inverted head and shoulders. SOXL for the leveraged enjoyers, that's an inverted head and shoulders. So this is all over the place right now in the market. If you go to the SPY, this whole thing is just a mega pattern that wants to go higher. It's clearly super overbought. There's a bear div on this as well on the daily. So stuff's kind of all over the place right now. Like, why is IWM up today and SPY is down? You don't see that very often. You don't see that very often. So I'm just trading the charts as best I can individually. We'll take a look at whatever anybody wants to look at. But we've got stuff all over the frickin' place. And MSTR is also getting wrecked, I assume. We'll take a look at that. I had some people asking me about MSTY. You really have to take the total price, total return into account, because people will, just like the Coinbase stuff or any like covered call strategy, it'll look like there's a massive dividend, but if the total return doesn't beat holding MSTR in MSTY's case, to me it doesn't make sense. So it super individual. What are you doing? You know, are you hedging? Are you trying to reduce volatility? Like, really depends on what you're trying to do. But you know, this chart in a vacuum doesn't look great to me. I wouldn't expect it to look good if MSTR does not look bullish. And MSTR is just kind of hanging out. It's the wrong cloud, whatever. But I'd expect MSTR to go back to 340. So I don't see anything bullish anywhere right now. And just like IWM, WGMI, add that to the list of inverted head and shoulders stuff. This thing is in inverted head and shoulders all day. You had CoreWeave, not CoreWeave, Core's just kept going. You know, it didn't even make a shoulder, really. It just kept going. So, like, the small cap stuff's doing really well. A shout out to Platinum and Palladium, which I haven't ever traded successfully, but it once again is at the breakout point. This is a super high time frame chart. So there's some commodity stuff that's looking decent. This is a multi-year bottom for Platinum and Palladium. Something to think about. I don't you know, is this a like commodity super cycle because debt and deficit and Bitcoin just front ran that already? I don't know. Silver's breaking out today. So everything's kind of all over the place from a like trader perspective, because the risk markets aren't really doing great and the stuff around the edges seems to be doing fine. I think Microsoft even hit a new all-time high today, I think, right? Not Macy's, sorry. Yeah, it's a new all-time high, right? Yeah. So everything's kind of all over the place. Full breakdown and analysis of trades by James Nguyen. I said, it's on a video like a week or two ago, I said it's unusual that somebody like that would enter the market and that he would make money, which ended up being the case. It's just the type of individual and the type of trading style, especially at the time of the market. We were literally at all-time highs, right? We were like right there. Those people don't really often ever make money. I don't know why that is. It's just, I think he started like back here, right, in May or something. Like, he did well for a little while, but then he gave it all back and then some, and he's over trading and he's doing way too much. He's thinking the market's manipulated. You can think whatever you want, but the P&L is the P&L. So if you're negative, then you know, you did something wrong, right? You can say, oh, there's all this paper Bitcoin and everything's manipulated. You can say that. That's fine, and that may be true, but here we are, you know. we're below 103. So that is what it is. AV, I assume those are legacy, yeah. Middle finger thumbnail. It's obviously the head and shoulders. Just reading chat here. AMD on legacy. Yeah, AMD looks great. There's some semis that looked good. For what reason? I couldn't tell you. How does like XLU? This is utilities. This is another one similar to gold. I like the story. I like the narrative. I like how this is just sitting at all-time highs, right? It's just sitting here. Okay, you know, looks good enough to me. Phillies, Blue Jays in one window. Yeah, you tell me how that's going. Yeah, I guess we'll run through the alts, but you know, ETFs have been kind of falling off a little bit flows wise. We're getting more Bitcoin treasury announcements, which doesn't feel like early. You don't see that in the first inning of a cycle. You see that certainly towards the end. Not necessarily it's the end today, but you don't see that sort of thing at the beginning of a cycle. Memes getting slaughtered is probably what needed to happen. There's just nothing here. It's kind of bashing this channel all the way up, saying like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Clearly I was wrong. It just kept going. But at this point, it's out of that channel. So it's hard to still be bullish on that. If we look at, I'll just keep bouncing back and forth because I have it in my head. IBIT on the daily, Williams fractals is also triggering a bearish fractal today. So if you didn't believe in the spot bearish fractal, which was a couple days ago, there's just mounting evidence that this is not where you want to be on the long side. This is another bearish fractal break today. This is a neckline break potentially today. Look, I expect sub 100, so I expect alts to get murdered. All of them. Yeah, AMD, silver. Silver's tough because people expect, you hear it all the time, like the gold silver ratio, blah blah blah. So people have like this expectation. Silver bugs have this expectation that this thing has a price that is not reflecting reality. Okay, that's fair. I'm not going to disagree. Technicals are more bullish than bearish. Obviously, it's at multi-year highs here. So it looks fine. It's just what is the expectation here? Do we measure this down here to here? My issue with silver is kind of the issue with a lot of these charts. They just trade very poorly historically. SMLR is another one. Let's just bounce around. SMLR just hasn't traded well. Look at what's happened to this chart since 2022. You're getting crazy volatility here. Crazy. So to sit in this and say, it's a Bitcoin treasury company, they're buying Bitcoin, their Bitcoin on their balance sheet is worth more than the company. Okay, but here's how the chart's traded, right? So if you are willing to sit in this, maybe it's for you, but it's just tough to look at this from a technical lens and say this thing should be going up, it just hasn't. Doesn't mean it won't. It just hasn't. Some people have drawn out like this head and shoulders thing, so maybe the next breach, it's such a mess, right? It's such a mess. So it's tough. It is tough. Nothing I love more than watching a Josh video. Yeah, so I was gone for last weekend, right? And all week people were chirping at me like, this can't go down, this isn't bearish, and I couldn't take it. I came back, and I had to it was a therapy session for me, just poured my heart out in that little video on Tuesday. Peter Brandt on Real Vision. I'm aware of Peter, have been for a while, obviously. I can't say I've taken anything from him, but I agree with some of his analysis, some of the time, but not all of it. Do you think we rally before the dump under 100? I feel like there's so much more liquidity short. I don't have feelings either way. The only thing that I'm looking at is this ugly pattern. So it's bearish until it reverses. This has been bearish since the Adam and Eve up here. So we can say that liquidity is this, that, and the other thing. I don't care. I don't care what the market is saying. All I'm saying is, look, I've seen this before. I know what happens. It's not bullish. It's okay. So if you look at the fractals on the daily, we broke a fractal on, what was this? May 29th. It was the first day since the move higher. And a lot of people were pointing out we broke the channel, right? So if we're thinking momentum if this was some channel or whatever, right? Like that was a huge move, great momentum. We broke the channel, we broke the fractal, we're breaking another fractal to the downside, we printed a pattern. That looks real, that looks to be breaking down. So for this to be bullish, again, we'd have to be above 107, which tomorrow we're getting a jobs number. The jobs number tomorrow could be totally neutral and the market just full sends, right? Like that could happen. If the jobs number is hotter than 4.2, then I expect this to continue to break down. I think we hit sub 100K pretty easily if the jobs number is above 4.2. Now this could be a lot of people risking off ahead of the jobs number and then they're off sides and this reverses, right? But I wouldn't be trading on that expectation. You have to wait for the number to come out and then see the reaction and then see what happens. But we were running hot for 7 weeks and we're just giving some back. We're giving some back. What is the, I do that all the time. The 50% move here on the fibs would be the expectation. So that is 91, 94, 93. There's a 20-week moving average at 94. Daily Kijun's obviously at 93. The measure move of this pattern is roughly 94 to 96. Okay, you know, none of this is bullish. It just isn't. It's going to take a catalyst to stop this from breaking down. That's my read. So I don't really care what liquidity is doing or funding or anything like that. Why do people say Wynn's huge? It's not really his position that was holding people back, BTC back. It was how he was trading and when he was trading. Prices attract certain people with certain psychologies at certain times. So you'll get people panic selling the bottom. In this case, he was kind of panic buying the top, right? Like he was 40x long. Why are you 40x long at the top after a 50% move? Like, you know, there are times for leverage. There are times to be max long. That just didn't feel like the time to me. But what do I know? I'm shorting this by sitting in cash. That's my short. I'm not playing this. Like you could play this. What is this? BITI. You could play this. So this is just inverse BTC, right? You got to be careful sitting in these products. High fees, volatility drag means they are disconnected with price over time. So the expectation here is it is an inverse of BTC. You can see it's basically like a inverted head and shoulders down there. This is one thing you could do is trade this. You could trade gold. You could sit in cash. Like you don't have to short. There's this, I feel like not because Che is asking me about shorting, but there's this attitude with people like you're really long or you're short. You can't ever be doing anything else. You can't ever be flat. You can't ever just be waiting. Like I could be wrong. Maybe this doesn't go to 96, but I'd rather just sit in cash, see what happens, let this break down. Maybe I get a wick to 94. I don't know, right? Like this, but this clearly is not bullish. So yeah, you could short it. Do I think summer will play out like usual? I think so. I think June's going to be awful. July is going to be okay. We're going to bounce. And then August, September is awful. And then October is where everybody makes their money. October is a great month. Someone asked about Monero. You know, I'll say it again. If you're trading this up here and you want this to 2,000, do I think it's going to go to 2,000? I don't know. But, you know, like the technicals are telling you that's where it wants to go. It may take another 4 years to get there. I just don't think you trade Monero. Again, not the individual asking me. I'm just saying, like, I don't think it generally does great most of the time. Similar to Maker. I have the same attitude. It kind of does its own thing. Like, this is the Monero BTC chart. does this look bullish? Has this ever done well? It's in a downward channel. So yeah, go for it. But it's not for me. It doesn't have a history of success against Bitcoin recently. We can also look at not e-gold. We're just all over the place. Maker BTC, this chart looks really good to me. Now, to be fair, it clearly clearly looked good to me in the past and didn't go anywhere. So I just like that it's holding its levels. I like that it has a history of non-correlation. I like that it's holding its own when everything else is selling off. That's it. You know, you're not going to get rich off of Maker, but it's another thing to do right now. SLV, the SLV chart, everything about silver, like look at the platinum and palladium chart too. Everything about that stuff, I think you either just buy and hold it. It's like the Monero idea. If you're bullish silver, you buy and hold it, stop looking at the chart, stop trading it. That's it, right? Like if you think silver is going to come back to some ratio against gold or whatever, you know, fine. I just don't think you can take this too seriously. It just doesn't trade well, you know. Save Reddit, lift the offer. Bearish move for BTC in June is obvious. That's what I thought, Mustafa, but man, people were coming at, they're still coming at me. They're like, why is your name still 333K by July? 95. Yeah, I think that's a decent level, 95 to 93. I think that's fine. Somebody mentioned Reddit. Reddit looked good a couple weeks ago. I think it still looks fine. I would expect this is like a multi-month idea at this point. If it hasn't broken out already, this is the wrong cloud. Should we fix this? I guess we'll fix this. Technically, still hasn't gotten into the cloud yet, so I don't know. It looks plenty decently fine to me as far as the setup is concerned. Looks good. You know, again, there's a lot of this type of price action in the markets right now. A lot of inverted head and shoulders stuff going on. 3350. Can I pull that up on here? Maybe MTLP, MTPL? No. Metaplanet's also kind of in its own like stratosphere, you know, like there's a lot of idiosyncratic stuff, kind of like MSTR was in the previous, I don't know, previous year. It was kind of its own special thing for a specific type of person that couldn't get access to Bitcoin in other ways. MSTR is competition with other Bitcoin treasury companies now. And for Metaplanet's case, it's got that tax advantage status basically, right? Because digital assets are taxed differently than stock in Japan. At least that's my understanding. So you could argue because of that reason, the MNAV has room to expand or will expand, whatever. But what else is left here move-wise? I don't know. Like you're kind of late, right? You're in the wheelhouse of what you'd expect based on the previous consolidation, high to low. So I don't know. That's all I got. That's all I got for Metaplanet at the moment. Also, the MNAV was like 30 something, right? It was getting ridiculous. Maybe it wasn't 30, but it was getting ridiculous. Yeah, Tesla. I was saying today in the Discord that minus 14. Yikes. Mommy and daddy are fighting. The divorce is going to be very messy. Live by the Donald, die by the Donald. This is a great example of, people often ask me like, we get the edge-to-edge trade. You nail that trade. You see the entry, you see the exit. Then what, right? I never expect continuation, ever. And this is a great example of that, not because it illustrates my point, but look, it hit the levels. You can't expect this to keep going. You just can't. The same thing with coin. Coin hit the levels. The pattern hit. Now it looks like head and shoulders up here. So that's why you have to take action ahead of this stuff breaking out. You have to see this before the move, because after the move happens, you're just getting sloppy seconds, table scraps. There's nothing. By the time this finished on the day, it never went anywhere after the breakout. 258 was the level. And look at this low time frame. You can see it on the daily. Does this look bullish to you? It doesn't look bullish to me. So, you know, it's like, if you miss the move, you don't chase stuff. You just say, okay, I know what to do next time. Next time when I see XYZ, then I pull the trigger. And the more you fail, the more you say to yourself, if you learn and are eventually successful, okay, this is what I'm going to do when I see this. This is what I'm going to do the next time. I'm going to sell here. I'm going to buy here. I'm going to open a position, you know, I'm going to nibble. I'm going to start allocating whatever, right? Because after the breakout, it's done. Nobody asked me to talk about Hood, but there was a tweet today about the Robinhood market cap exceeding Coinbase, which is interesting. I really doubt this continues here, especially if crypto breaks down. Hood and crypto are so closely correlated that I doubt that Hood keeps going. I wouldn't short it. It's not for me up here. Similar to Palantir. I think it just needs a little time. I think all this stuff that had this huge bounce just needs a little time. Rivian, yeah, I get into this trouble chat where I talk about something with great conviction, strong conviction, and then for the next 6 years, people are asking me. I mean, Hood was the same way, to be fair. So this is nothing negative about Lord Hamon, but you know, like, my time frame here is 6 months. It is not something that matters on a week-to-week basis. So, like, let it sell off. Like, I don't care. As long as it's above 10, I think it's fine. It's going to take a long time to go anywhere, is my guess. Does Tesla cratering pull down Rivian? Yeah, probably. You know, it probably pulls down the sector. Absolutely. GoPro? Didn't we look at this one last time? Isn't it just dead? You got to fish where the fish are. It's like people, again, I'm not talking about the person in the chat who asked me about this, because I ask people to ask me about stuff. I just feel like, you know, do you really want to be trading GoPro? I see what you're seeing. I see what you're saying about, like, it's in the cloud. It's got some sort of, like, you know, rounded bottom thing. Sure. I don't hate it as an idea, but in the back of my head, anytime somebody shows me a chart where it's like, you know, page 200 of CoinMarketCap or whatever, it's like, what's the realistic amount that I would throw money at this? Like, anything? 10K, 50K? I don't know. Like, I wouldn't have strong enough conviction to take this seriously. Whereas something like IWM or SPY, Qs, Bitcoin, like, to me, there's no limit if I have conviction on an idea there. One thing that scares me is the remaining IHS Fund legacy that are sort of like remaining edge to edge, or crypto is not necessarily lagging, just not, yeah. And that's kind of the case here. Like, this could be lagging, or it could just die, right? Like, it maybe just doesn't go anywhere. It's weird that IWM looks as good as it does to me. But hey, that's technicals for you. What are the chances of another Bitcoin fork? Governance issues are turbo bullish, because that shows there are people with skin in the game, and there's emotion, and there's free coins if that happens. So let them fork it. Then you have both. Don't use daily, says some guy. All I do is use daily, bro. What do you mean don't use daily? Do you even know who I am? KTA? What is this? No. I don't think that's on Kraken, is it? Yeah, I agree. GoPro as a company is not headed in the right direction. A lot of people are talking about CoreWeave shorts. What's the famous quote from the short selling guy? You have to wait for the jaguar to come out of the tree or something. Clearly parabolic. Clearly it. By the way, the reason this looks weird, I've got on extended hours, so you're seeing like the overnight session. It had the trappings of a head and shoulders, and it just kept going, right? Okay, so this measured slightly higher and hit that target. I just don't know, like what would you need to see to short this? Maybe like it lost a 4-hour fractal. I don't know. Like, because clearly people have tried to short this all the way up, right? Clearly. And it hasn't worked out for them. It's still trending bullish. It's obviously giving some back, but not on Kraken. Okay. We can take a look. Is this one of those, what page of CoinMarketCap is this on? There's not enough data for me to really say anything. I got nothing for you. I need a year of data at least. Is it on MEXC? I don't think so. Again, like, how do people find this stuff? Like, I'm here all day long. This is all I do. I don't have kids. I don't have pets. I don't have hobbies. And you're coming in here every week. Again, not this person, but people are coming in here every week. Like, what about this coin? I'm like, what? What is that? Bitcoin dumped to 1 cent. FCX. So yeah, CoreWeave, I don't know. I don't know what to do there on that one. I got nothing. My powers are no good here. FCX. Yeah. It's got a multi-month inverted head and shoulders. It's got a bullish breakout on the daily. Looks good. Looks good. No, Palantir to me, it needs some cool off time. We just talked about that one. All right, let me go all the way back up because I missed a bunch. People were calling out at the beginning. Where is it? Here we go. All right. Bloom Energy. Yeah, I mean, I'm laughing because I think this person asked me about this one for the past couple weeks, and it's trying. Is it screaming bullishness? No, but it's trying. Doesn't look horrible. Doesn't look horrible. Spotify. Yeah, you know, it had this. I can't remember what I said. I hope I said something about an inverted head and shoulders for the past couple weeks. I hope I said something about a neckline. This is the difference between Bitcoin and Spotify or any chart that gold, right? Like, clearly it is trying to do something at some level. Like, is this an entry up here? No, not. I don't think so. Like, you're late, right? Like, the entry's on the breakout. The entry's at the horizontal level. This measures, we just take the high to low. Like, you could justify an entry because of the expected target, but it just feels late to me. So the risk reward is going to be skewed less in your favor, but it looks excellent, right? There's no denying that. Just looks like a reconsolidation and continuation. It looks like Costco, which continues to just cruise higher. Kind of breaking down, honestly, but the more it can just hang out up here, the better. I don't see anything strong one way or the other. Maybe, you know, you could even argue some sort of like demented diamond or something. I don't know. But you want consolidation that is bullish at all-time highs. That's what you want. You don't want a bunch of reversal patterns like BTC is getting. AV, sure. Sure. It kind of reminds me of just SPY or in general. Not Tesla. God, that's ugly. All right, I'll get this right eventually. SPY. It's like, what's the entry here? At what point do you like this and where? It looked like it tried to consolidate for a breakout, but now it's pulling back. It's getting angry. So this is the tough part because it's already, how much is this off the bottom? Like 25%, right? Yeah, 25% off the bottom in like a month. It's just like, what are the odds that this is a good trade right now? Even if it keeps going, like what are the odds that that happens? I don't know. Everything just looks overbought. That looks like this to me. That's why I think maybe some of the laggards are catching up on the lower cap side. VZ. Verizon. This is a huge consolidation. Look at that. You know, it reminds me of K-Web because it's trying the bottom. Clearly, it's got this head and shoulders stuff over and over again. There's a neckline there. It's got a crazy coil on the daily. Just like, right? It's just tight. I'm sure the Bollinger Bands are... Let's take a look. I'm sure those are super tight. All right, I thought they'd be tighter. Whatever. Yeah, it's trying. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. K-Web, honestly, the chart looks similar. It's gone nowhere. That's the issue, right? Like, it's like that platinum and palladium chart. It's back at the breakout level. How many times does that fail till you just say, all right, this isn't for me, right? Look at K-Web. It's gone nowhere for years. Now that doesn't mean it won't eventually break up, but you know, like there's opportunity cost here, right? You could put your money somewhere else. Does that mean it's bearish? Not really. It's just it doesn't really look like it wants to go anywhere anytime soon. So I don't know. Like, what do you do with this? Do you just sit in it and say, all right, I'm just gonna eat the time? All right, come on. Maybe if you like it, you do, but it hasn't gone anywhere. Our cat. Red Cat Holdings. Yeah, a little bit of a double bottom. In the cloud. I don't hate it. I also like that this had a head and shoulders back here, broke down. So it tells you it does pay attention to technicals. It trades on technicals. I'm sure there's a VPVR level, yeah, around that neckline. I don't hate it. Certainly looks better than alts. You know, in the back of my head too is like, okay, what does the Sol chart look like relative to that, right? Like, even this chart, UMAC, clearly it's trying to bottom. I don't know what this is, but you know, you got inverted head and shoulders into the cloud. Looks good. I don't know what it is, but it looks good. NOTV. These must have popped up on a screener or something. This is the alpha. This is why you come to this stream, chat. Hopefully I didn't freeze. Yeah. Inverted head and shoulders in the cloud. Looks decent. Looks decent. What else we got? Solana. Should I go back to crypto? I think if you're unit sizing this stuff and you're like, you know, this, anytime I see an idea in the screener, then I do this size. That way you're not like me where you're like, I've never really heard of this company. What the hell is this thing? If you're just trading on technicals, then you're just on autopilot, right? You're like, okay, this is this, I do this, this is that, I do that. The cloud on the Solana. Doesn't look good. Technicals here are not bullish. It's in the cloud, right? So like literally anything is possible until it gets out of the cloud. I don't know. Like it just hasn't traded well. It keeps hitting these highs. It hit 187, gave it all back. It hit 165, gave it all back. It just hasn't traded well recently. It looks like it could drop out of the cloud here, but I got nothing. I got nothing. I got nothing on the Solana at the moment. I don't have kids. I don't have pets. People don't look at stuff that already ran, even though there's a reason, they just check something that's down 98. Yeah, that's fair. You know, clearly when you're looking at like even at the bottom on Kraken, right? You can see like these are the biggest movers. So people are already looking at that stuff. That's what brings people buying the top of something like that, or buying, I think you can sort by losers, right? You know, like buying some of this stuff. I don't know. Sol, yeah, it doesn't look great to me. ETH has held up. It's down 3% today, but man, this chart in this market, in this environment, this thing looks amazing, right? It's undeniable how strong this looks relative to everything else, right? It looks really, really good. Now that all ends if ETH breaks down. I don't know which way this ends up breaking, because it's just sort of consolidating here. You would think continuation, but it's kind of head and shoulders-y. It's kind of ascending triangle-y. If BTC, and just looking at another screen, if BTC breaks 100, then we get to really see what ETH is made of. You know, what does it hold 2600 or not? I think if you're trading it here to the long side, you just put a stop loss on it, any new lower low, and you just say, okay, that's enough for me. And you just revisit. But it's doing amazingly well, considering, right? Like Solana just giving it all back, Link giving it all back, Doge, like it doesn't matter what it is. These charts look awful, right? Like all of the move from May, just complete retrace. Not something you want to see if you're bullish. INJ for GOSP kind of looks like everything else, just in the middle of the cloud. That's why I think it's going to take certainly the rest of this quarter into Q3 and probably into Q4 when things start to break up again. Just like we've seen like every year. Thanks, Che. Popcat. I'm not your chat. Banter. Fartcoin. Thanks, Delonda. Virtuals, yeah, like, so if instead of saying, again, I'm asking for people to ask me stuff, but instead of saying like, what does this chart look like? What does this chart look like? Like, what is that chart relative to Bitcoin? Is it super leveraged to relative to Bitcoin? Like any of the meme coins, you'd put in that category. So if Bitcoin is minus 2% today, they should be minus 4% plus on a daily move. If Bitcoin is leaning bullish and breaking down, those should look turbo bearish. Or sorry, if Bitcoin's leaning bearish and breaking down, memes should look awful. Sol should look terrible. ETH should look worse than it is, but it looks okay. Like all this meme stuff, it looks like garbage. Pepe's down 11%. Like this could be the future for ETH, right? If it breaks that diag. Just another example of the edge-to-edge trades. Like you take what you get and you get out of there. Because this happens a lot. You get that move and that's it. There's no continuation. And it needs to reconsolidate for the move again. So any alt that is more memey should be doing awful. Trump coin doing awful. A lot of this stuff just, right? Like this never broke up. It looks like junk. What else is on here? Whiff. None of this stuff looks good. It just really, really doesn't. Really, really doesn't. Ripple is just in a massive range. It's leaning bearish. Absolutely. Head and shoulders. Not something you want to see if you're expecting bullish continuation out of this range. It tried to. It just never got back here. It never got back up to 260. That's the problem. And it's been here for a long time, since December. Hasn't really been able to regain momentum. ETH farts and sweet, let's say something above 1 billion. Fastest alt horse, top 3. I mean, based on how ETH is trading today, you'd got to say ETH is in the top 3. I think Sol is a contender if the ETFs get approved. Something to think about. I have no clue if they are or they aren't. I'm just saying if we start to see flows into those ETFs, that should help Solana. I don't know if it's going to be the fastest horse, but something to think about. DeFi looks good here. I don't know if that's the fastest horse, but Curve was another one that moved ahead of everything else. It doesn't look tradable here to me now, but I would keep an eye on Dino DeFi stuff. Does XRP look manipulated? No, I just think there's a lot of coins being sold every day by lots of people. Weekly RSI rejecting. Yeah, we were talking about the weekly bear div a couple weeks ago, and I said it's unconfirmed. What is the actionability? Was basically what I was saying. Now it certainly looks more real today, right? You're getting a couple weeks now where price is lower. You also had a bull div down here, right? I don't think we're going to get another bull div. RSI would need to get to sub 42. But clearly you're getting 3 highs here and RSI is lower each time. Whether or not this confirms, okay, and then what do you do with that information? Do you sell cold storage? I don't think so. I'm not. Like we could put in another high and put in a bigger div. Like the div can keep going. Nothing says this can't keep going. It's just probabilities, right? eventually it'll be the top eventually. It's just momentum hasn't gone above what we saw in November, which makes sense. I mean, that was post-election. So, is it bullish? I wouldn't put it in the bullish column that we have a weekly bear div, but what do you do with that information is the question. Aave, yeah, I don't know what even represents DeFi these days. I don't even know. Lending and borrowing, DEX. Is there a DEX token? Uni. Looks like junk. It just does, I think Q4, John. If we survive Q3, then I think Q4. Absolutely. From peak to trough, it's usually 1,000 days. From trough to peak, it's usually 1,000 days. We're going on day like 940. So we don't have a lot left in the tank here. We don't have a lot left in the tank. I think the down move here is survivable. I don't think anything past Q4 is necessarily survivable. We need institutional money, right, to pull this higher. I don't know if that means rates way down. I don't know what. I don't know. Yeah, I think the 4-year cycles continue until proven otherwise. So that could be this year, this cycle. That could be the next cycle. I don't know. You're still seeing people cash out. If you look at not CoinGlass, Glassnode, they put out an article today talking about the types of holders that are selling here. So you're certainly seeing some profit taking. Bob Lucas, yeah, loosely follow what he's been saying. Whatever works for you, I don't know. He was big on like left and right translated. It's hard for me to say that Bitcoin's going to top when liquidity, like if global liquidity looks like this and the dollar looks horrifically bearish, it's hard for me to be bearish. BTC. Like this looks like we have plenty left. Gold looks crazy bullish. So that's why it's tough to be a long-term bear right now. If the dollar, this looks like a head and shoulders at the bottom to me on the dollar. Does it not? Am I crazy? Like this looks like it's ready for bearish continuation, which will push global liquidity higher and should make it harder for us to go down. If there's a reason we don't hit 95, it's because the dollar broke way down. So it's just hard to be bullish. Or it's hard to be bearish mid to long term when you're seeing stuff like this. When you're seeing the Republicans get elected and then say they're going to do all this cutting and then raise the debt ceiling anyway. Like, okay, fine. I guess we just keep the party going, right? Nothing stops this train, as Lynn would say. 60-day cycle theory. Yeah, there's been a few people over the years who've talked about that sort of thing. Sure. I mean, whatever works, right? It's not something I'm trading off of. It's interesting to talk about, but what's going to actually make me click a button is a chart pattern. It's the cloud. So that's what I talk about most of the time. Even when I'm bullish, you make me feel bearish. If you're here for another 5 to 10 years, there is nothing to be bearish about at all. So that's why we talk about like holders versus traders. If you're a holder, you have nothing to do. SWE looks not great as well. All of the long-term trends and models still look like we have plenty of room. So I'm not worried about it. And every time we pull back from all-time highs, people talk about this, right? Eventually, there will be a time when we roll over, right? I just don't think we're going to see that till the end of the year. You know, this is sweet. What about this is bullish? Everything is breaking down. Everything looks like a head and shoulders. Nothing looks like it's holding up like ETH, right? Compare all the alts you're watching. Look at the ETH chart. Put that on one panel, and then we can even do it here, right? Like, I dare you to match ETH against anything. Nothing looks remotely as bullish as ETH. Nothing. It just doesn't. Everything else is curling down. Everything else looks like it's puking lower. Bitcoin or ETH still holding for the moment. Yeah, we looked at Maker. It looks good. No, I'm not worried about quantum computing. We need to know when you're bullish. Well, John, we talked about that on the high time frame stuff. Like, Pitchfork looks fine, right? Pitchfork looks fine. We had our cloud breakout. We had our move. We just had a 50% move. So yeah, we're going to pull back a little bit. That looks fine. Liquidity, again, if there's anything to continue to beat the bears, like, just smack them over the head. Just talk about the debt, talk about liquidity, talk about rates going down. That should help push us higher. It's just, we're here today talking about the chart in the moment, and it hasn't looked good for a little while. It just hasn't. Power law corridor, I have that somewhere. I was just on Schwab TV, and they were asking me about this. She literally said something about, you have a 333K target, don't you, or something, and I said yeah, and she was asking where did that come from and how can we get there? We can get there, or where did that come from? It came from the power law, obviously, but which is what I said. And how do we get there? We get there through nations buying institutional money, wirehouses, ETFs, more stuff, right? We just need more. So we're teasing that line on the power law. It's just a question of whether or not do we have it in us to try for some crazy level. I think the risk reward is still there to do nothing and just wait to see if it happens. You're talking about a 3 to 4x upside from here. Yeah, I'll stick around and see what happens. So, you know, if you're that bullish, then there's nothing for you to do, realistically. So I'm gonna go back to this so I don't mess everything up. Yeah, it's just, we've been bearish for a few days. We've we've put in this pattern, and I call it like I see him, you know? Call it like I see him. The first level is definitely 130 to 150. But once we start breaking down those highs and we really start taking off, if we see that in Q4, that's how we just get crazy extensions, right? That's like the 2017 cycle. You just get a crazy extension. Have you ever given a thought to investment where you don't hold the 4-year cycle? Yeah, look, anything's possible. You know, everybody, I think it's because Bitcoin's so volatile. They're like, I don't know what to do. Where are we at in the cycle? I get it. It's your money. It's your livelihood. It's a big deal. But, you know, just take a breath. And if you're concerned about something, sell a little bit. You don't have to sell everything. Just split your stack in half and sell some. Like, you know, have a plan on the way up. What am I going to do? If price hits 150, what am I going to do? Am I going to do anything? You don't want to be there on the day we hit 150 and say, oh, I'm going to buy more or something, right? That day. You want to have that plan in mind. So I'm always talking about what I'm doing. I don't really care what everyone else is doing, but I'm just always telling you what I'm doing, right? That's what this is all about on this here YouTube channel. So I like adding below 100K, closer to 96, 95, 94. And that's ultra near term. Long term, probably end of the year. You're probably selling anything at any price towards the end of the year. So you're selling something, right? You're probably not selling everything, but you know, there's a possibility where we could have just like, look at this pitchfork, right? We could just keep going forever. Sure, why not? Like, no more cycles anymore. We're just ping-ponging in the pitchfork to eternity, to a million. Sure. Now we haven't seen that, right? We haven't seen that ever. So it's hard to say this is going to be the time. But yeah, anything's possible. Anything's possible. I would use alts when you're sure momentum is bullish. And even when that was the case for BTC, alts did not follow this and they did not outperform. This is a 50% move from the bottom. Most alts did not give you a 100% move from the bottom. They just didn't. So you have to be careful with that assumption. Is IBIT the only BTC? I think they're all fine. Most of the fees are about the same. I would avoid GBTC, obviously, because that's the highest fee, but I think they're all fine, honestly. How much does closing... We generally follow on the S&P, so if, like today, I think the S&P is pretty bearish, right? Where are we at? S&P's down 0.5%. We follow the Qs closer, which is NASDAQ. So it matters. It definitely matters. In this recovery, we outperformed. You can pull this up. We can go BTC divided by... Make sure that's the right one. In this move up, we clearly outperformed. Now we're giving some of that back. But we are generally in the same direction. Just as alts are an amplification of BTC, BTC is an amplification of risk in legacy markets. It's been 13 years. I can go another quarter. Exactly. The longer you hold this stuff, the longer you just say, fine. You know, what does it mean? What am I going to do? Sell and pay taxes? Like, I sold a little bit last cycle for the first time based on the cloud. Again, for people who are like freaking out. Sold back here, right up here. Sold back here. Did not re-enter the market with that money. And that ended up being close enough to the top. I did it because of the cloud. Going to be doing the same thing because of the cloud this cycle. So we'll see. 1 million in what year? Let's take a look. 1 million in like 2040. Doesn't go out that far. We'll say 2035 or something. You can short crypto through ETFs. If you can actually do that on Kraken. BITI is short BTC, and I think, what is the ETH? You'd have to look it up. There's a ETH short ETF that you can also short stuff with. How far can total 3 go? All right, one more, we'll get out of here. Total 3. Total 3. Let's take a look. I don't know. It's not doing anything, you know? I think the other hard part too is some people have been around now since 2020 or 2021, 2022, and they're expecting this like slingshot move. that we saw post-COVID because of the money printing, because no one was really doing anything else. They were sitting at home. I think it's going to be hard to see. This was what? A 3,000% move. So far, we've had a 250% move. It's just going to be hard to replicate that, right? But this chart doesn't look bullish to me. Others similar. That doesn't look good. Just looks like chop. Shorting alts. Yeah, it would be through ETFs. I don't really. One thing you could do. So total 2. If we pull up total 2 and we pull up Coinbase. Again, it depends on like where your money is at and what you have access to. But if you're in the US, I just assume you have money you can trade at a brokerage or something. Total 2 and Coin are basically 100% correlated. So if you're ever bearish alts, you could take a short on Coin. You could buy puts or sell calls or whatever, right? You do whatever, some combination of that. But these two are joined at the hip. So another reason to be bearish Coinbase here is if you're bearish alts, you're going to be bearish Coinbase. Did I trade alts after Bitcoin topped? No. I think I took some ETH trades on FTX US, got out in time there. I lost most of my money longing ETH anyway on FTX US. But that's the extent of it. I didn't trade Luna or anything like that. 69K. I mean, the downside, if we go to somebody else was asking me about this, like what's my bear target? So we go here. What is this? No, how do we, let's do this. This will be the last thing, then we'll get out of here. BTC daily. Yeah, so down there is the 200 week moving average. It is the 1400 MA on the daily. That's the bear cross, or sorry, the bear market target, 48K. You can see what it looked like in 2022. We can go all the way back here to COVID. We can go all the way back here to 2018. We can go all the way back here to 2015, right? It was down there. So historically, if we enter a bear period, that's the level. We reach for that level. That's going to keep moving up, but that's the level. So I would keep that in mind if you're like, what about holding fart coin in a bear market? Like, that's probably going to zero, right? Like, so maybe that's not the best idea. It's certainly not a store of value. Because I guarantee you there's going to be people asking me in a bear market, like fart coin's going to be at 50 cents or something. And they're going to be like, what about a 2x from here? It's probably going to, if it goes to 50, it probably goes to 10 cents, right? Like, it's very directional like that. TIA is a great example. The classic. We'll end it here, but everybody was turbo bullish up here in 2024. And it's down what, 90%? 99%? 90%. It still looks awful. It just looks awful. So anyway, that's all I got for this one. Give me a like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming to the stream live or watching the recording. Have a good one. Take care.